In the previous video, we have looked at social media and multimedia storytelling. And now we're going to look at something very important, which is developing our creative skills so that we can develop a portfolio and go forward in our journey to become a photographer and a photojournalist. Each one of us is unique and has a unique potential. To be able to create a space for oneself, one must develop one's style. As you have seen through the length of this course, that there are different kinds of photographers and different kind of photojournalists, and each one of them does a work that they like to do according to their interest, their preferences, their potential and their style. Likewise, you need to find your style. What is it that you like to do? What is it that interests you and you're passionate about or you're curious about, and you would like to pick it up and follow it up and make it up into a photography project. So now is the time for you to think about developing your style, and as you go along, build a portfolio that will help you to get work, because it's a portfolio that will show to the world your potential and your capacity. To find one's style, it's very important to identify one's interest and follow that interest. And how does one follow one's interest? By going out and practicing it. Let's hear what Avni Rai has to say about this.
So with my film, the one that I made on my father, was to understand who I am, because if I'm going to shoot a photograph, take a photograph that he would like, then I'm taking what he wants me to do. But to fight him and to say that I'm not you, because that's what a rebellious kid would do, I would have to figure out who I am. And I cannot, if I don't want to take the photograph he would like and I want to take what I like, then I have to find what I like. And I think that's what my learning was from the film, and that's why I made the film. So you don't take a photograph that I would like or that he would like. The point is to find yourself and to figure out who you are.
Figure out who you are. Such simple but beautiful words shared by Avni. That's the biggest secret and the biggest joy, to know who you are and to express yourself through any creative medium, and here we are talking about photography. Nimit Nigam also shares about how, as an independent photographer, he constantly has to find his space and carve a niche for himself, which can only be done by developing your style and putting it out there. Let's listen to him.
As an independent photographer, there are some other problems as well which you have to face. Like, there are so many photographers around you, thousands of photographers are walking with you. तो आप अपने आप को उस क्राउड में कैसे अलग दिखाओगे, वो सोचना इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। अगर सारे के सारे फोटोग्राफर्स एक जैसा ही काम करेंगे तो किसी का काम अलग से दिखेगा नहीं। वी ऑल फॉलो रघुराय सर। अगर हम सब के सब रघुराय सर जैसा काम करेंगे तो आप सेकंड फोटोग्राफर्स की तरह हमेशा आओगे, क्योंकि रघुराय सर की तरह ना कोई बन सकता है, और अगर कोई बन भी गया मेरा सेकंड फोटोग्राफर, यू ऑलवेज बी अ सेकंड, नॉट द फर्स्ट वन। सो ऑलवेज थिंक कि आपका खुद का स्टाइल क्या है। एज अ इंडिपेंडेंट फोटोग्राफर यू ऑलवेज हैव टू कीप इन माइंड कि आप कुछ ऐसा नया क्या ला सकते हो या नया क्या कर सकते हो जिससे लोग आपसे इम्प्रेस हो, आपके काम को वो पसंद करें। क्योंकि अगर आपके जैसे 100 काम उनको पहले से दिख रहे हैं तो वो आपको फॉलो नहीं करेंगे, आपके काम को खरीदेंगे भी नहीं। लाइक मोनालिसा इज अ मास्टरपीस बिकॉज उसके जैसी और कोई नहीं है पेंटिंग। That's why it's a masterpiece. So you always have to be keep in mind that thing as well कि no one is pro, no one is a beginner, everyone on the same panel. हम सारे के सारे एक ही पैनल पे काम करते हैं, बट आपका हार्ड वर्क और आपकी जो क्रिएटिविटी है वो आपको एक स्टेप थोड़ा आगे लेके जाती है. So always think like that.
To be an independent photographer is a great joy, but it's also a challenge, because constantly you need to reinvent yourself and find your space and niche. Once we have discovered our style, our voice, our ways of working, it is not difficult. Tanvi Mishra recounts an experience of working with a young photographer, Zishan Latif, and how he has found his style, his voice in doing an assignment. Let's go over to Tanvi and listen to her.
When I called Zishan and I said, Zishan, I have this assignment for you, he was very excited because Zishan and I have been working together for a long time on different projects. I think that's also the role of a photo editor, to give opportunities to people who may not always be out there winning the big awards, and to keep an eye out sometimes for the people who may not make it to the limelight. And someone like Zishan, I would say, has made it to the limelight now, but it's important to keep in touch with the progression of people's practices. And what I really enjoy about my job is that when photographers let me into the process of their practice, so you become and Zishan and I are a good example of that we work together very well. So there's a lot of trust. So he gives me a very big edit and then we edit it down together. So I knew that I also have this trust with him. So I called him, I said, I have this assignment, it's very interesting. And Zishan, it's an assignment that's right up his sleeve because he really enjoys, he works well with kids. He really enjoys a challenge, and the challenge here was that you don't show, it has to be anonymous. None of the identities of the boys can be shown. And to get access into a juvenile detention home could only have come from had a magazine commissioned you. Otherwise, to do it independently as a freelance photographer is very tough. Now, I'll just take you to the behind the scenes. While I was sending Zishan to the remand home in Dongri, which was in North Bombay, north of North Bombay, I was sitting here and writing letters to address to the municipal commissioner, to the BMC, to whoever's the local MLA, and I was sending an official letter to them saying, please allow so and so person to take these photographs. We are doing the story. They will not reveal identity. So I was setting up the stage in a way for him to go out and perform. And that is also our job. Usually in a traditional news media organization, the photo coordinator will do that and the photo editor will just sanction the permission. However, in our case, since there are just two of us, we really, both of us do everything. And so we went out and got the permissions. Finally, we got permissions for only one part of the remand home and one part where they actually sleep. We could not get permission, they didn't grant us. However, I really do think that if we are to continue with this story over a longer period of time, which I intend to do with Zishan on an independent basis, not through the magazine, we may actually get permission. So a lot of access is about persistence and to go back and to go back and to convince the people that you're working with that you are committed to the cause. Because if they don't see your commitment, they may also not want to open up that space to you because that space is very sensitive. It's where these boys sleep, it's where they eat, and imagine having a camera around you constantly. And I'm thinking that they do it for the welfare of the boys. They could also have been doing it because they wanted to not show us something. We were journalists, and journalists always want to expose a truth, and I wonder what lies inside that we are not allowed to see. So I was quite disheartened that because that's the kind of space that I wanted Zishan to access. However, it turns out that while he was there, managed to talk to a lot of people and get himself into the area where the boys learn and they sit for class. And there is one day of the week when they meet their parents. Their parents are allowed to come and meet them. And it's a very kind of moving moment in their entire schedule where they get to, because otherwise they're young kids, 7 or 8 year olds just living on their own. So he went ahead and photographed that. And this was kind of the opener, which to me was really, said a lot. They said a lot about the kind of photography that I also like. It's very quiet. There is no moment, but there is a semblance and there is symbolism of what we're trying to say. I mean, so many of these footmarks, you already get a sense that there is multiplicity, there is not one person. They look like quite small footmarks sometimes, and when you see it with something like School of Hard Knocks, so school, with word school you associate children, and so I start imagining that these footmarks might be of the boys, and then I start thinking that maybe the boys were running around when it had rained. It looked like there are puddles here, so running around in the rain is also about childhood and it's also about innocence, and it immediately sets the stage for how I want the audience to perceive this piece. I could have also shown a very brutal image. I could have also shown violence. I could have also shown them looking like convicts, which is basically like photographs of these boys that were published in newspapers. I could have had their parents holding those photograph that would set a very different mood. But I wanted to start with this. And why this was really important to me was, Zishan looks at like a lot of very subtle aspects. So the crush shirt to me says a lot. And School of Hard Knocks, because it's actually quite a tough school, it's a tough place, and the idea of something not being ironed is about not having access to a lot of things that we take for granted. Nobody's going to sit there and iron their shirts, nobody's going to cook their food, they have to do everything themselves, and these are almost luxuries that you don't have. Even and Zishan did a brilliant job in being able to, while you're looking at the boys, you're also looking at the space. And what does something like a calendar signify? For me, a calendar signifies time and the passage of time and the years and years and years that these boys spend within these homes. And the story also complements it, and the images complement the story, because the story talks about how a lot of their cases are pending and time goes by and they keep kind of longing, and that's why I wanted to have both of these photographs on the same page and the same layout for the almost as if this boy is overlooking the calendar, overlooking the idea of the time passing by in front of him. The idea of community is something that I really loved in this image, because what I talked about, boyhood and friendship, and it's a whole bunch of boys spending a lot of time together, and the intimacy that you see in this image, they're climbing on top of each other, probably getting on to see what's on a table, and you can see like one boy's legs are right behind the other, and they're all standing, and I can read a lot into this body language, which is quite sensitive. So I'm not interested in showing them as criminals. I'm interested in looking at what exists within the boundaries of this juvenile home. And then there's the education aspect. So there is the reading and writing, there is the drawing, but it's all behind bars. So some of it is behind bars, but I like this idea of bars to also give a symbolism of the jail. But there's also play, that they're playing Ludo, there are like these crayons scattered around, and these are just like little signs that Zishan is kind of trying to paint a picture or paint a portrait of the space that he is at. Also togetherness is also kind of doing things together. They clean out the garden that exists over there, so they pick up all the waste material and put it into a wheelbarrow and like wheel it together, like teamwork is also something that the boys learn, and I like the idea of doing things together. And then I had images like this, which were very, very important to me, because the only people whose faces are shown are the people who work there. They're not convicts. This is Mr. Kulkarni, who is there, I think the headmaster, or occupies some position there. The story was done a long time ago, so I've forgotten the exact detail. But also, the idea of these files just lying around, and for years and years cases being pending, the lack of order, the lack of proper institutionalization of record. That is something that's a very Indian and South Asian visual. If you look at prisons in the West, they will probably not even have files, they'll have digital data. And then one of the most compelling spreads for me was this. I also like images that don't reveal everything at the first go, but like really make you want to kind of see hints and signs and try to imagine things. So I don't know if you can see, but this image is actually when a boy met his mother at one of the points at which they meet their families. And if you look closely, there are cut marks on his arm, and it gestures at the the mental and the psychological toll that it takes to be inside these juvenile homes. They may have committed a crime, but everybody has the right to also to move past that point. Jails are very hard spaces, and I don't think that our detention centers, whether for kids or for adults, allow a space of mental health rehabilitation or psychological help. And it's very important to also talk about these aspects. Again, I'm partial, but I feel that images like this are very important, because at the end of the day, your only friends in this space are other so-called convicts, and these minors become friends for life, because they have gone through something very special together. And just the holding of hands in here, I don't want to see the face, I don't want to know which kid it is. I actually want to know the experience that they share together.
School of Hard Knocks. This story of children at a remand home in Mumbai, done by Zishan Latif, portrays his creative skills of doing the story. Likewise, each one of us can go out to any situation and portray it in a creative manner. We have to find our style, our voice, our way of doing things. And it's only by doing that we learn. Having talked about the importance of creative skills, of developing your style and your portfolio towards the end of our MOOC on photojournalism, it is an opportunity for us to introspect and reflect on what all we have learned through this course. And it's extremely important that we understand that we need to apply the knowledge that has come our way. We need to integrate all of it and make it our own. The right attitudes, skills, and knowledge is what will help us to become photojournalists. We are going to conclude with the next video talking about important people skills and virtues that will help us on our way.